I'm going to give a little introduction about our guest. Our guest is Oluwatoyin Layo. Oluwatoyin. I want to give you another name.
Yes.
Oluwatoyin. She's a senior HR associate with over a decade experience. She's a graduate of Communication and Language Arts from University of Ibadan and has multi sectoral work experience, peering eviction, consulting, insurance, human capital management, and that's where she focused on. So, based on her experience, she decided to anchor Towing Talks Talents, T3, and this she provide consulting, mentoring, and capacity building on a virtual platform. So, it's really a great prayer to have someone as great as this in our midst this evening.
Ah. Oh goodness.
So
Hmm.
I will.
Okay.
So
To God be the
I've listened
glory.
to your. Thank you very much. I've listened to your story at Aurora. That's where I belong to,
Hmm.
and how you study medicine, and after second year you realize no, 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 this is not it. Let me go to where I belong to. So what actually made you to make that decision?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Amalara, for having me on. I consider it a privilege whenever I can share my story because it's with the hope that when people hear how I came about to where I am today, it might inspire them to make some decisions that maybe they hadn't had the courage to make. So my story, let me try and make it very concise so that I don't make it too long because it actually took place over quite a period of time. So long story short, I'm of that generation where some certain professions were considered the choice profession. So medicine, law, engineering were the main attractive professions because they were considered prestigious and they were considered secure. You almost guaranteed, work. So most parents encourage their children to go in that line. So I was one of those students that was what we call an all-rounder. I did well in all my subjects. I didn't have a particular uh, a bent, so I couldn't say that I shined here and I didn't really shine there. Though of course there were some subjects I did better than others. So when the idea to study medicine came, it wasn't I didn't really have any convictions otherwise. So I was like, why not? I mean, to be to study something, have a career, move on, and all that kind of stuff. So I did get into medicine. But for my first year, I knew that there was something going on. Something wasn't quite right. I almost had what I call the magic touch. I didn't need to struggle to pass subjects, and I found myself struggling. And from there came the questions: what's going on? What's going on? This is not me. I usually don't do this badly. And then I realized that, oh my goodness, I don't really enjoy all these things I'm doing. For one thing, I didn't understand it, and it was just strange to me because I wasn't used to it. So from my first year, I was thinking, oh, how do I get out of this? Could I get out of this? I mean, how would I tell my parents that, oh, I don't want to study medicine anymore. I want to, do something else. So I asked for someone's advice, someone I respected, and he told me, you know what, 100 level isn't real medicine. You can't really know whether or not you like it until you reach the 200 level, which I believe till now was very sound advice. So I stayed. And of course, you want to work hard, you want to push, and of course, for those of us that are, people of faith, oh, you pray, oh God, I can do it, that kind of stuff. So, got into 200 level, bad became worse because now we're in the thick of it, and it was not getting better for me. So we have this major exam that we do at the end of 200 into 300 level. And I thought, okay, you know what, if I can just scale through this exam, if I can just make it, just struggle and just get over to the other side, then all this stress will be over and then I wouldn't have to deal with all these things I'm dealing with. But unfortunately, I did not pass that exam. And it was a cause of sober reflection for me. It wasn't just devastating for me. I had to stop and ask myself, you know what? I've struggled. I've gone through all this stress for the past 2 years. Do I really want to continue this? And this is why the little snippet of thoughts, what if I changed, came. I mean, if I first disregarded it, it was like felt, hey, this can't, I can't even consider it. How would I tell people? How would I, when I look like I gave up, won't I look unserious, be like, one of these students that didn't know what they were doing in school, that kind of stuff. But somehow I don't know where I found the courage to to see that thought through. And it was there I found out about this course called Communication and Language Arts, which one of my roommates at the time was studying. So going through her notes, I began to see some things that were more familiar to me that had more to do with the arts. So things like writing, like reading, like advertising, marketing, those things sort of attracted me, going through the notes. So I said, you know what? Since it has to do with communication and I was all about that anyway, why not just go there? So of course there was a lot of drama, but eventually I got in and then I graduated. One of the top students in my class, and then got
Wow.
out of school. Story into HR was another one, but let me just stop there for now.
Wow. It's so wonderful. So I want to ask you, I want to take you back to idea. When the idea came, who brought the idea to go and
Nobody
study
actually.
medicine?
Oh, the medicine idea. Oh, oh
Yes.
well. I wouldn't say it was a specific person's idea. So my parents talked about it because I was strong in the secondary school sciences. Because now I know there's a difference between science in secondary school and science in the university. So I was strong in the secondary school sciences, and my parents were like, "Ah, well, she's doing well enough in biology, chemistry, physics. Why doesn't she just go for medicine?" you know. And like I said, I didn't have any other conviction. I didn't feel strongly enough about anything else. So I was like, well, as good as a course to study as any, and of course the prestige was attractive as well. Doctor and all that. So I said, why not? So that was it. I don't think it was anybody. I wasn't forced. So I don't want to give the impression that my parents forced me. They didn't.
Okay.
I could have told them that I didn't want that, but I didn't have anything else that I was inclined to doing. So it was that it seemed better to go with the flow. So no, my parents
Okay.
never forced me,
Okay.
but they influenced my decision, but they didn't force me.
Okay. Wow. That's great. That's wonderful. So, from this story now, what I want to get is that, ordinarily looking at it, that means there is a strength of communication from that you had inbuilt, but that skill was not developed, was not seen, and that was why from onset you could not focus on going to arts or focusing on communication. So what do you think youth of nowadays, let me start with youth first, how can they really identify their strengths to enable them to focus on it so that there will not be issue of going in the wrong direction or going the wrong way?
Okay, so I'm going to come at this with from two areas. Now I've been in this talent thing for not too long, but I've done a little bit of studying, and the first thing I'm going to let you know is that a lot of things that we experience as individuals are environmental. Okay, so regardless of what we come with naturally, from birth, environment plays a very very strong role. So to an extent, you're being fed some information consistently in your environment from when you're young. It forms your reality. Okay, so you at some point you don't even really see yourself as being as a disadvantage in that you don't celebrate your strengths. So someone like me, for instance, when we were young, I was the one that used to coordinate all these presentations that we used to do. So at birthdays and other events, I would call everybody together. Okay, let's sing this song. Me, I'll take this part. You take that part, and all that. I used to perform and entertain my family, so they sort of knew me, knew us, as that. But people will just see it as youthful exuberance, just things that children do to catch their fun and that kind of stuff. So nobody's going to look at it and say, oh, I won't say nobody, but the tendency is not to look at it and say, oh, maybe this girl has a future in something that has to do with presenting or presentation or communication because she does this thing. You just see it as children having fun. All right. And then okay, so when we now start growing older, and we now have to look at the serious things. Yeah, let's start talking about career. Let's start talking about what you want to study in the university. Nobody's going to think about that little girl that would hold the remote control as a microphone and be singing. in front of everyone. Nobody thinks of that. They just think of, okay, what you want to secure your future, a course that we know that it will be easy for you to find work. And let's focus on getting you into that sort of course, you know. But so a lot was unawareness was part
Yeah.
of it. So now in our generation of parenting, we are aware of these things more, especially since we see many people thriving in other what we call non-traditional in quotes careers. So you see people thriving in entertainment, you see people thriving in football, sports. You see people thriving in things like information technology, digital things. These were, I mean, computer science was almost like a throwaway course in my time. It wasn't something that anybody necessarily planned, unless the child showed that strong tendency towards information technology that the parents could easily recognize it. You tend to think of the more what I don't know what I don't want to call them traditional, but you know the kind of courses I'm talking about, like the let's
Yeah.
build the laws and then have. So that's it really. And actually, what these extracurricular activities in our schools are supposed to do, I believe that the original, I mean, I don't have evidence for it, I have to say the truth, but I see the value in it, helping children see their abilities beyond the subjects that they learn in the classroom. Okay, so you have things like the jets, you have things like the drama, you have, the sports, you have music, you have these extracurricular activities where people can express other abilities that they have that don't necessarily have to do with, the book writing and the chemistry, biology. So, in more advanced economies, more like in the Western world, you
Okay.
find students having things like football scholarships, like sports scholarships into college. So they play that sport for the university they go into, and then the scholarship pays for the education.
Yeah.
So those systems are there. We have similar things here, but they're not as I would say prominent or as mainstream as it is over there. So over there, you actually find parents pushing their children to do some certain sports or
Yeah.
pushing them to do some certain subjects because they know there are scholarships available that can pay for the university education. So I personally think that the extracurricular activities have that sort of had the potential to do that, but because of the nature of our own environment,
Environment.
where we celebrate some certain professions over others, the tendency is to just see how to get the child into school somehow and see if they can study medicine or law or engineering or accounting, that kind of stuff. So we don't tend to look at those other things. So what I don't know if I've gone off your question, but the two things I would say, if you want to, one is it's a journey of discovery, right? It's not something you can, not all the time I should say, that you can just know from the get-go that this person has this ability. The second is that now there's more awareness. Parents are paying more attention. So children are doing art lesson. They're doing music lessons. They're doing other lessons other than strictly school subjects now. Because if the child shows potential to excel in those things, they now be, oh, how do we now take this further, to help this child, prosper in this field. So I think I wouldn't say that is the easiest thing to do. I wouldn't say it's hard because there are actually some tests you can take now. There was a survey, no, not survey, a questionnaire that I came into contact with sometime last year, and you answer a series of questions, and then they give you the list of careers that you could potentially pursue based on the way you answer those questions. So those tests are actually available now and could give some guidance as to which career or profession a young person could choose to go into. They were also available when we were
Yeah.
in the undergraduate year and university, but they are
Yeah.
available now. Mm.
You've answered my next question partially. So
Okay.
my next question is on selection of course. So I deal with youth, and sometimes a youth will tell you that today I want to study accounting, tomorrow is economics, next tomorrow is another thing, and you're like, "Ah, why Why is it difficult for you to make up your mind? What is the challenge? What is the issue? So in situation like that, what do you advise a kind of a student like that to do? No, you've talked about there are some sites you can do to text your ability and what you can also what you are good at. So what are the
Mm-hmm.
other things that can actually help a child like that to identify and to know what is supposed to study?
Okay. So, like you said, I've partially answered it, but I would also add that the adult influencers in the lives of these children also have a role to play. So, I, as a parent, wouldn't just ask my child, "What do you want to do?" and just wait while the child tells me, "I want to do A, I want to do B." I mean, I spoke with my oldest child the other day, and she was telling me she wanted to be is it a cosmetic chemist or a forest program, something to do with trees and nature and climate, and taking care of the forest. And I mean, as a parent, I mean, you're asking yourself, oh my goodness, what is she talking about? But I know she's strong in the sciences. She loves the sciences. I know that. So I have that in mind while I'm listening to what she wants to do. And I told her that, look, you still have time to um, you know gather more information to know what you want to do. Okay, so there's no pressure now, but I am paying attention now. She's told me two things that have to do with some form of science that already buttresses the fact that she's inclined towards the sciences. So I, as a parent, I have that in mind. So what I should be doing is thinking about how do I consolidate this natural inclination of my child to help her really understand what she wants to do. I mean, she watches a lot of the science shows on DSTV and the like, where they're pouring chemicals together, talking about physics and biology. She loves all these shows. So I know she has an inclination. Of course, I could say, a doctor in the family, but she didn't say doctor. She didn't mention doctor or medicine at all. So I have to be very observant, and I have to be asking, constantly communicating with other influencers like her teachers, for instance. Okay, what have you noticed? What do you see that she's more inclined towards? Let's look at her subject. What is she stronger in? And then apart from her strengths, I look at her other interests now. So she likes things like, singing, she likes drawing, she likes telling stories. But she likes them not to the extent that, it's so predominant that I can say that, okay, maybe she should go into the arts or into graphics or something. It's not that strong. But this is information I'm just gathering, while she's still in this developmental stage. I'm gathering this information. So by the time she's getting to the point where she has to make this decision, I have sufficient information to counsel her and to guide her and extract from her where her interest really lies. And the truth is, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to university and studying something that you may not eventually use. You know,
Hmm.
that thing that you study in university would have played to a particular strength that you had. All right. So as I'm an HR professional now, there are HR professionals that started off in accounting. You'll find that a lot of them are strong in the areas in compensation and benefits and payroll management that have to do more with
Yeah,
figures.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so the fact that they did accounting, which consolidated their love for numbers and figures and seeing things in that light, actually came as an advantage when they eventually landed in HR. So there's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing wrong with studying a course that you don't end up using, but there's something that course would have built in you, would have strengthened in you. If anything else, if you are reading the wrong course, what it will do, it will motivate you to look for the thing that you actually like, which something similar to what I did. And I can imagine. I mean, if I hadn't started off as a medical student, would I have known really that this is what I wanted to do? Who knows? We can't say. But everything we go through in life is taking us towards a particular path. So we have to continue seeking, we have to continue observing, and as parents, aunties, teachers, we also have to pay attention to these children so that when they need our guidance, we'll be there for them. I mean, in our own day, we used to have guidance counselors in our schools. I don't know if they have that
Yeah.
anymore. And these people used to help us and talk to us, talk to our parents, help them know, how to, help us, guide us, things like that. I'm not sure that is so available anymore. But we influencers should be very observant and see how we can help these children make the right decisions concerning their careers.
I want to move a bit from students now and move into a working class. So a working class, and probably share your experience with us. A working class that is in a sector, in an area, and you're not satisfied and
Mm.
looking for where to move to, but you have not really identified what you want.
Okay, let me give you an illustration. Now, this is my opinion, and I believe that other people may have some other ideas about this. So the other day, I was going home from work, and I took a route different from where I usually take. I was familiar with this route, but it wasn't the route I usually took home. So I got to a particular point, and I thought, okay, this is the point that I can cut off some traffic and link to the road that I wanted to go to, not knowing that I was going in the wrong direction. So by the time I took the road that I thought was going to take me to Ojota, I found myself in Ikorodu, and I was confused, sincerely. And when you're confused, your mind is muddled. Even places that were familiar to you don't look familiar to you anymore. They begin to look strange when in fact you know where you were. I was confused. I was like, what is this? Where is this? Not where I expected to be. But I was still driving. I was still driving. I was still driving. I was still driving. So it just occurred to me when the initial confusion started clearing. It was like, Tony, you're still moving. You're moving fast. You're moving purposefully, but you're moving in the wrong direction. Okay. So you need to stop, assess where you are, and chart the course to where you actually want to go to. Okay. So I stopped at a petrol station, took a few deep breaths, brought out my Google Maps, and just situated myself. So once I had an idea of where I was, I could not, and I knew where I wanted to go. I could now take the steps that would get me there. What am I saying? If you're dissatisfied in your current job, there is no point making a rash decision if you don't know where you are going. Okay. If you don't know what you want, you don't know where to go, stay the course. If I didn't have a if I didn't have a preference as to what I wanted to study, I would have stayed in medicine, because at least there was a goal there. I had a direction I was moving, which I knew, right? But it was once I knew what else I wanted to do that I could now take the steps that took me into that other side. So if you don't know where you want to go, living where you are doesn't make a lot of sense. You're still going to be wandering. You may be going fast, but you may be going in the completely wrong direction. So the
Wow.
first thing I would say is understand what you want to do first. Make that an intentional um focus goal. I need to know what it is that I want to do. So you might need to get a coach, people like me. You may need to get a mentor. You may need to sit down, meditate, a lot of reflection. You may need to put your shadow one or two people. But if you don't know where you want to go, making a move doesn't make a lot of sense.
Wow.
So if you do want to make a career move, it's fine. Right nowadays, particularly in this meta COVID situation we're in, you can almost do anything once you can get skilled in a contemporary area that is relevant to the businesses of today. You will find someone that can use your services, but you need to know what you want to know, what you want to do, and where you want to go. Once you know that, then you can make it.
You have nailed it. That's so wonderful. It's amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't know if you have any final words for us on this show.
The opportunity, then let me use it. So you mentioned that I run a project which I call Tony Talks Talent. Now this project was a divinely inspired one. It started with, okay, so I'm an HR professional with a specialty in talent acquisition, which means I recruit people, and you find that you have so many people looking for work. but you don't find the sort of people that you want. And I found it, I mean, why would you have so many people that need to work, but when you interview them, you find that they're not suited for what you
Not
want?
fit for the work.
So the idea was start a project that would help you to equip these people to understand what the requirements for certain jobs are in terms of how their own abilities or their skills or experiences can match what it is that the employer is looking for. So that if you're going into an interview setting, you're not going there, handouts, I'm desperate for a job, help me. You know what you can do, you know how what you can do fits into what the organization wants. So you can make that connection and they can see you make that connection, then they'll hire you. So that's how it started. So we started by running a session on CV writing and the whole application process. Then we talked about the interview process, and then now on a monthly basis we talk about different career areas, soft skills, think how to manage your boss, what climbing up the career ladder, what that actually means. So we did all that, and it's been 1 year. We're actually in the middle of celebrating our 1 year anniversary. By my Monday, 12th of July, will be one. And we've been running some sessions as well. But the focus of it is this: the problem with a lot of youth is because the environment we're in is somewhat oppressive. And what it's pressurizing us to do is to, get a job so you can be making money so you can take care of your needs. Either your personal needs, like just generally eating, a roof over your head or clothes on your body, the basic needs, or family needs, that struggled and sacrificed to send you to the university so you could get an education, so you could get a good job, so that, we can now be enjoying the fruits of well your labor, but our labor as well. And all that is in their heads when they're standing in front of you in the interview room, and they're not even thinking about what is my ability, what am I strong in, what sort of job should I look for, because the truth is that not every opportunity is your opportunity. Not every job that is available is the one you should pursue. So you advertise for a teacher, so it's one person applies. You advertise for receptionist, the same person applies. You apply for an entry role, that same person applies. You apply for a senior role, the same person applies. So the person is just sort of just casting their bread on all the waters available, that hoping that one will work. There is it's a strategy. Well, it's not one that will give you immediate returns, in my opinion. And you still find yourself, even if you get a job, you find yourself working under par. All right, unless you're intentional about why you're in the organization. So the essence of Tony Talk Challenge is to help you unearth what your natural abilities are, and then build that ability into a skill so that it becomes something of value that somebody wants, that can solve a problem in an organization for someone. So that's what Tony Talk Challenge is about, helping you to understand that God has given each and every one of us at least one talent. You remember the story of the talents. He gave someone five, he gave someone three, he gave someone one. The one with five, the one with two, sorry, two. The one with five, the one with two, the Bible says they traded with it and they got returns. But the person with one buried it and did nothing with it until the owner came back. Everybody has at least one talent. I am meant to trade with that talent to give you value, for value exchange. And that trade means packaging that talent in a manner that is valuable to somebody in the marketplace, so that they are looking for you in order to use that talent to solve a problem they have in the organization.
Wow.
But if you don't know what your ability is, you don't know what that talent or that natural gift is, you don't work on it. You consider it a throwaway. There's some people, for instance, who are geniuses with numbers, but because it's such a simple thing to them, it's something that they don't even think about. So they add fast, they think fast about numbers. They don't see it as a skill that they can use to get something. You get? They feel, "Ah, why should I consider that a big deal? It's something I do so naturally." Some people are such great cooks, and because they cook so easily, they feel, how can I make money out of cooking? Or how can I spend 4 or 5 or 6 years, depending on the strikes, in the university, and then what I'm coming out to do? is to cook. The truth is that what the university is supposed to do is to open your mind. It's not meant to narrow you into one direction. Yes, the knowledge can help you explore that particular direction as a potential career area. So, but the essence of university education is to open up your mind to what possibilities are out there. I don't know if you've seen an MTN advert. I just came across it recently. I don't know how long it's been available, but I just came across it recently. So there's this particular guy in the university. He usually calls his friends together and he comes and he cooks for them in his dorm room. Everybody eats with him. Everybody enjoys his meal, and everybody celebrates. They come and they hail him and all that. So he did that while he was at school, and then they all graduated. And then they now show him, walking along the streets looking for work. He would go for interview here, rejection, another interview there, rejection, rejection everywhere, and like nothing seemed to be happening. So one day he was just in his room, cooking, or he was cooking for his friends as usual. And I think the idea just occurred to him, why don't I video myself cooking this food and put it on social media? You understand? But no, no, no. What happened was that no, he was coming out of an office where he had just been rejected for a job, and he saw one of these motorcycles that deliver food, in those big boxes and he was delivering food, and it just occurred to him, "Okay, this is something that he can do, right?" So he goes back to his house and he's cooking, and then he starts filming himself doing the cooking and posting it online. Guess what? So that now became a business. People saw him doing that and got interested in what he was doing. So they started ordering food from him, and that's how he started his food catering business, so to speak. And when I saw the advert, you can go on YouTube. It's on YouTube. You'll see it. It was so fascinating to me. Like this guy had the ability all the while. He'd been cooking all through school. People enjoyed his food. In fact, they used to wait for him to come back so they could go and eat in his room. So the key to his prosperity was in his hand all the while. But because he belittled it, because he buried it, because he felt it was really nothing, what is the big deal? Is it not cooking? After all these books I'm carrying in school, he went from place to place, and it was because he was to the point of desperation that he'd been rejected from so many jobs that he just considered, oh, but I can do this thing, and I'm seeing someone delivering food. Why can't I go into something like this? And that's how he now began to see the cooking he had sort of despised as something that was nothing. He began to see it as the key to his prosperity. Now, if the guy is making money, I mean, if somebody sells pepper in the market, there's some alatas in the market that are more financially stable than some graduates working
Yeah.
9 to 5. And at the end of the day, it's the ability to be able to take care of yourself. If you're more concerned about the fact that, I want to be working in an office so that everybody can see me with my shirt and tie or my skirt suit every day, and you're neglecting the fact that it's not about the fact that you're seated at a desk writing stuff with pen that shows you're prospering your career, is being able to use the ability you have to meet a need, that brings you returns. I don't know if you were in the session with this lady, Kids Plus, yesterday with
Yeah.
Aurora
Yeah.
with PW,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
heard her story, how she identified different areas of need and how she filled those needs, and that's
Yeah.
what built her business. That she even went back into 9 to 5, and even though she was doing well, sort of, but there was still that thing inside her that said, she's not really fulfilled here, and she went back into the business. I think she's doing the two together now. I don't think she's left 9 to 5 yet, but the fact is that she found a niche that she could plug into, born of a need that even she had, and she plugged into it, and it boomed for her. So while people were struggling with COVID, she was doing so well. So I would say, please, God has given you an ability, a gift. Pay attention to it. Don't despise it. Yeah, I used to think that my singing and talking when I was small, and dancing and remembering Disney movie songs and entertaining was a nothing. Was just me being a child. But I didn't know that my capacity to remember things that way would help me as an HR professional, because now I'm taking people in sessions and facilitating. I find it easy to stand in front of people. Once I'm clear about my goal, I can articulate what I want to say. It's not as tough for me. But I never saw myself, because I even consider myself a very shy person, reserved. I'm not the sort of person that's go everywhere and everybody knows I've arrived. So I didn't even think I had the capacity to stand in front of crowds and talk. But I mean, I had it in me all the while. So please don't despise that ability you have. Don't think it's nothing. If it's something that has to do with machines, and I think, okay, I'm going to, I'm so passionate about this. Some people are born to be mechanics. And I don't talk about scruffy mechanics, that, the ones that people look at and they list, or even though those ones are doing well for themselves, thank God for their lives. But they have that ability to see problems within mechanical things, but they feel that no, I have to be in an office where I'm seated in AC and pressing a computer, and they sort of push that aside. So if there's anything I'm going to leave you with is, don't despise that natural ability for you. Instead, look at the marketplace and see how that can be packaged to offer value to a people that need it. And guess what? There are many businesses in the world, but there are many businesses that are making a profit, no matter their size. So every business, every person has their own audience. Every business has its own niche that's supposed to serve. Don't think you'll be one of many. You'll probably be one of many, but as those are the ones that are making your money, you'll be making yours as well.
Wow.
Thank you. I know I've said a lot.
Wow. Don't despise your natural
Don't
abilities.
at all. Don't
Wow.
don't
Wow.
at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
So amazing section. Wow. 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 Thank you
That
so
lady
much.
also said that her children used to dress well. And people used to say,
Yes.
"Oh, your children look so nice." That's how she got into, dressing children. So you may
Yes.
have this style ability in you, and you're thinking, me to be selling clothes. I know I've gone with graduates and all that, and imagine that may be where your prosperity lies. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
don't look down on it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
It's so
I'll
amazing.
finish now.
Don't despise your natural ability. Identify and look for needs in the area and look for how to be the problem, the solution to that problem. That's it. That's the key. So it's not a matter of I've gone to university, I've studied this. The university is for you to, is to equip you, not mainly in that area,
Teach you
but
how
to
to
make,
think.
yeah. So mainly your thinking. Wow, this is great. And I want to end this on for our undergraduates or students still looking for admission. University is not only a place just to go for study. It's a place to network. It's a place to
Yes.
develop other skills.
Yeah.
And so don't just go there just to read. Make friends, network, and live a focused life. Because
Can I
that's the
just
main
add
thing.
something, because you've said something very important? Do you know a lot of these fellowships, grants are offered to undergraduates? So you have a lot of scholarships that allows you to do something for like maybe like a 3 month session with some company, some training, and they are very partial to undergraduates because they feel your life is being formed, and you don't have a lot of financial options, so they are happy to offer you such things.
Wow.
Okay, so don't think the power in the student has a lot of power.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
really realize how much power they have, and
Yeah.
all these things like them JCI, Toastmasters, all those clubs and societies, Rotary Club that you can join as students. All these NGOs you can volunteer with as a student, to learn skills that will benefit you in the corporate world when you leave school. And the networks you make, open the doors for job opportunities for you almost automatically.
Yeah.
And people tell you that once you finish school, just come and work with us, things like that. So use your student years well, use them well.
Wow. Thank you very much. This is
It's a
really
pleasure.
wonderful session. And I believe that our guests have received something. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
being my
having me.
guest today.
It was my pleasure. And God bless you and keep you strong doing the work you
Amen.
do.
Amen. Thank you very much. And to all our guests and to all that watch after, we really appreciate you. We love you. And do have a wonderful week. And remember, don't despise your natural ability.
Do not despise
Bye.
it. Bye.